Hey, good Saturday evening out here jamming, doing some videos. Gonna do a video today. I've had a lot of people ask me after I made the tool video. First of all, they're like, what the fuck? What was that? Second of all, we'll get into today a little bit talking about finger picking and some of the stuff that I did in that video. So stay tuned here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I want to hear from you. I want more people on this channel contributing to the world of music. There's so many distractions. There's so many things going on in this world today. Find something tangible and attach yourself to it. There's a lot of pitfalls in life, but I feel like music is life. Like it's something that can pull you out of a dark place. So with that said, we'll go into some like advanced techniques here. Talking a little bit about popping and all that finger style stuff. Really, I feel like it's something you can use as kind of an accessory. I mean, you can play it as your main style, but I think if you get too much into one thing, it just becomes kind of like predictable or like some type of like gimmick or some type of like that's your thing. I kind of want to just be a chameleon, really. Like it's like martial arts. Little bits of who I am come out in these videos, but I'm a martial artist. I've taught martial arts now for almost a decade, off and on. So the same type of dedication that goes into martial arts goes into other aspects of my life. So I recommend, if you don't do martial arts, that's cool, but I really feel like it's a good thing for your mind, your body. Hand strength. This is one thing that I get into with students. My hands, I can't press down the strings, and it's just too much to get my hands to do what I need them to do. Well, I mean, you weren't born knowing how to walk, or you didn't know how to ride a bike the first time you got on it. Maybe you did if you were like Chuck Norris or something. Chuck Norris just kicks ass, but hand strength. How do you strengthen your hands? If you're a guitar player, that's going to be one of the first things you want to try to do. Dexterity, so little runs like your little spider, or climbing. Here, we'll turn off the univibe to this real quick. So then you just do it in reverse. Try and do a little bit more clean than that. But the point is, doing these drills. That's another thing. Sometimes you can get messed up merely because you're not as warmed up as you should be. I try to emphasize this as well. If you're gonna go running, I don't suggest you just get up and go. Stretch, move around. I do like, these little like wrist rolls. It gets your ligaments used to moving, finger movement, stuff like that. Just so you're not like locked up. It helps as you just, grow up, get older, all that stuff. It helps you be more mobile. So, finger exercises. So you're doing the climbing exercises. That's great to build finger strength. This is going to sound ridiculous, but it's true. My hands, they have a level of something called bone conditioning, or it's also called like cortical remodeling. Basically, like from repeated striking, it builds the bone structure in your fingers all over, really, just from repeated contact. It almost turns it into like stone or concrete or something. It just microfracture, just ends up, that's one way of strengthening your hands. But a less maybe destructive means, If you get like a 5-gallon bucket and you put, you know, bags of dry, you know, white rice, and then just put your hands in there, and it's gonna like, you're gonna feel that everything from the tips of your fingers all the way up your arms. You do that for, you know, 30 seconds, a minute aside, switch, just keep doing that. Try to move up to 2-3 minutes. Your arms will be burning after a while, but eventually you'll get a lot of strength through here, and it's also a safer version of that cortical remodeling, which I feel like you have to have a certain amount of that for guitar. I mean, you know, you can't like look into your skin and see the, you know, cellular structure of your bone changing, but it is when you play guitar, whether or not you do martial arts or you work some hard demanding job with your hands. But you need that, you know, to have the strength to be able to press down metal strings on wood. So going back to beginner techniques, we were talking about, you know, ways to pick up the instrument a little bit easier. One thing that I recommend, learn your root notes. So if you don't know what a root note is, every chord, every scale, every key starts with a root somewhere. So when you're talking about root notes, make sure you at least you know on your E string and your A string what those notes are, because the more you recognize, you know, between E and F there's a half step, and between B and C there's a half step, everything else is a whole step. If you can remember that pattern going up and down the neck, you'll be able to navigate it so much easier. I don't want to give too many things away, but for beginning guitar players trying to get into fingerstyle, we were talking about that a little bit. A lot of people have been asking me about that. Learn to, if you're not going to use a pick, having a kind of a set hand form. I don't know how well you can see this. Try to get a little bit closer here. So my hand, like my thumb, will often rest on the low E string, and then it just kind of like depends on what I'm playing. Right now I got my first finger on the D string, and then I've got my second finger on the B, and then I've got both my third finger and pinky on the high E string. This doesn't always have that same, you know, I call it home location. When you're trying to be efficient with movement, economy of movement, you don't want to be like changing your hands up or whatever you're doing. You know, kind of staying in a similar. I'm not like, you know, doing all this stuff. Like, you want to keep your hands like consolidated. And here's something, one of the most important things, that so many people don't do this. It's amazing to me. So, the role that your arm position plays in playing guitar is astounding. So, here's a little experiment you can try. I want you to try this. Play with your elbow way out here. And try to play lead. You got almost no reach. I see a lot of like new guitar players doing this. Look, the range of motion you have when you tuck your elbow in just opens everything up, okay? So let me try that again, but out here. It don't work so well. Another thing, if you're gonna play, we're talking about fingerstyle a little bit here. If you're gonna play fingerstyle, get used to making the same kind of motions. I don't know how well you can see this, but you know, it's almost like, I don't know, little circles. I know it looks weird on the camera, but if you're just tuning in right now, no, you're not on mushrooms, unless you are, which, whatever. But this motion is kind of what you're doing here. So, like, it's like little circles. So no matter whether I'm here, moving up, I'm kind of keeping my hand in the same spot. I can sit here and talk to you, say about my day or something, you know. So, you know, it takes a while to get fluent or great at anything. You know, there's this old proverb or way of thinking, you know, I don't fear the man who's practiced, 10,000 kicks once. I fear the guy who's practiced that one kick 10,000 times. The lesson in that is, the more you practice something, the more you efficient and the more dialed in you are, you get muscle memory, the better you're going to be. There's so many great players out there in the world, Joe Bonamassa, Jimi Hendrix, Phil Sace, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. All these great players, you can be born with, some musical inclination, but those guys didn't just get good because they were, privileged. They weren't, none of that. It was hard work. None of that. It was all hard work. So those guys got where they are, just drilling the just hours a day. I think if you really want to do something with music, I mean, what are you doing in life? What do you want to do in life? Dedicate your time to it. If it's something you enjoy, it should never be like a chore. There's some things you might do in music that aren't the greatest or the most fun, but there's all kinds of jobs out there that, look, if you don't find a way to get through it, bro, it's going to be a rough sailing time for you. If you haven't put your time in like a 9 to 5 or a 7A to 7P 12-hour shift factory job, dude, think of it that way. Like, what do you want to put your time in to? What do you value? So, if you're just starting out, you're wanting to learn whatever style, put your time in. How much time do you think you need to be, like, you think you're just going to be great in a year? Like, man, I've been playing almost 30 years, and, I'm not trying to come off with any type of attitude or anything, but no matter who you are or what you do, if you put your heart and soul into it and practice and really try to figure everything out and understand it, you're just going to be better at it. Going back to the martial arts thing, there's people out there that, they have a complex or they have a chip on their shoulder. Look, man, peace is the way. Violence, all that ego stuff, let that go. Music is really the best thing, I think, for humanity right now. There's just so much going on. So, with that being said, I know this is going on a little long too. I was going to play a little bit. We're talking about fingerstyle, we're talking about different techniques. So let's try and utilize some of these in this little diatribe I got going on here. I'm going to kick on the Hayes 67. Funky vibe. harmonics right now, in case you were wondering. Peace in the world. I hope you have a good rest of the day, evening, whatever may have you. Till next time. Peace out.